Hello! I thought I'd come to the allotment today and do a little update and also show the reason why I haven't actually uploaded any sewing videos recently, because I've been busy with something else. We're having some very strange weather here in the north of England. It's actually very warm today, but I don't know if you can hear, it's actually raining. I'm under a parasol, but it's to keep the rain off, not the sun. But I'm going to go out anyway and brave the weather and show you around. I'm sitting under the parasol in the seating area of the allotment, where there's a little bit of a nature area as well. It used to be a pond, but we built the pond in the pandemic for something to do, and it developed a leak about a couple of years ago, although it does still hold water and it's actually quite deep. So we've got some bulrushes, which are wild bulrushes that took root here, which we're quite proud of because the birds like those. And we have got honeysuckle, bird feeders, and down there it is quite wet, so I'm sort of assuming that there are creatures living down there and making use of the moisture in the dark and the cold and the cool. We'll just set off now and have a look round. Now, this is my original plot that I had, that you will have seen if you've seen my sewing video where I had my treadle sewing machine in my shed, which I don't anymore, but here's the shed. You might remember it. So this is now when I did the sewing video, I did get some messages from viewers in America asking what an allotment was, and I rather stupidly assumed that everybody knew what that was. Now, an allotment, the allotment movement started in the UK. I think it was during or after the Second World War, and it was so that people could plant their own vegetables. So they're typically about the size of a tennis court. Now, this is my original plot, and you can just see the end fence there, and it is about 3/4 of the size of a tennis court. And the only reason it's smaller is because I have a communal tap here, and so I that takes up some of the space, so I pay a little bit less for this. Now, these allotments are not typical. They're typical in their size and the use. They're not typical as to what is in use in the UK, because they're private allotments. It's very, very hard to get on a list, get to the top of waiting list for a council allotment in this country. A council plot will probably be something like £8, £10 a year, which basically covers the admin, whereas we are actually renting a bit of land, so we pay a bit more than that. I'll just show you a few of the things that I've got growing. These are some sunflowers, and I managed to get so far growing this year some celeriac, which I struggled to grow last year. Now, the celeriac, it's like celery, but it produces a bulbous, sort of ugly looking vegetable, which is absolutely delicious. That's a celeriac plant there with the red stems, and then I've got some perpetual celery, cut and come again celery next to it. This is the salad bed. I'm a keen follower of Charles Dowding's No Dig channel, and so what you will see this growing on here is undug manure and compost, and that's my lettuce growing there. I've got a mixture of Little Gem, Lola Rosso, Grenoble Red, I think, yes, and these are leeks as well. I did have a pear tree growing here. I planted it with my grandson in the pandemic for something to do, and at the time you couldn't visit nurseries or garden centres, so I asked them to send me a fruit tree that could grow without needing another plant to fertilise it, and that wouldn't grow too big. And what I got was a really fast growing pear tree that produced completely and utterly tasteless pears. So I took the difficult decision this year to actually cut it down, and we've left this trunk to make into a bird table. So the reason that I've not done any sowing videos or any video of any kind for a good few weeks now is, amongst other things, I took on a second plot. And here it is. It's almost exactly opposite my existing plot, and it's just a little bit bigger because it's a whole plot. So I took this plot over on at the end of May. This is how it is now. I've mainly got squashes and courgettes growing, and I inherited some fruit plants. So the reason for using the squashes and pumpkins and courgettes is that they're big plants and they spread out, and it would help to keep the weeds down. So the first step was my husband used a brush cutter and completely flattened all the weeds. And then we got hay, straw, whatever we can get our hands on, cardboard to mark out some beds. We haven't got any borders on the beds apart from some planks that we already had. So if you look at this bit here, which is how it was after it was trimmed down, and we haven't used a spade at all, we haven't dug the ground at all. This is going to be, as is the other plot, completely no dig, and that's where you add material to the ground each year, and you don't dig it. You leave it as nature intended. And so what I'm trying to show you here is that you can achieve that even with even with completely weedy ground. If I show you part of the next door plot, which is also neglected, that's pretty much what all of mine was like, except there was some weeds over your head as well. So that gives you an idea. I don't know if you can see the rain. It's actually starting to rain again. So the rain's stopped. It's quite strange, quite a heavy downpour, and not even forecast today, but it's stopped for the moment. I'll just quickly show you a few more bits that are growing. So down here we've got some beetroot, multi-sown beetroot, and this is one of the raspberry bushes that I inherited. It hardly produced anything because it's either an autumn fruiting one or it was just so strangled by weeds. I've got some spinach growing here and some chard. This is called candy stripe, I think. Candy stripe. It's got lovely pink stems. And I've got some cut and come again celery as well. I'll just show you some of the courgettes. So this one has been very prolific. We've had quite a few of these already to eat. This is a golden courgette, and I've got some squashes growing. And the reason for growing the squashes is they spread out, they're quite easy to look after, and the food lasts all winter basically. I've actually got a squash at home that I've had since last year. And so these are just growing on cardboard. I put cardboard on top of the cut weeds. I bought a ton of manure, had it delivered here, and I just spread it on, and I just grew the squashes from seed. When they were quite big, I just planted them in the top, and to be honest with you, I hope for the best. Had to water them quite a lot, and they're all doing quite well. This is another courgette. This one is called Triste. Nice and big. And these are Botti Beans. I wanted some height. I wanted to have a bit of impact on my new plot without having to make too much effort. So I kept some Botti Beans from last year, and some of them I ate, and some of them I just planted, and they've done really, really well. I've heard it said that if you keep seed to grow for the next year from your own land, because the seed knows that it's from the same place, and it grows better. And they've done incredibly well when a lot of things haven't. There's another tower there. So what I will do with these Botti beans when they grow is the same as last year, which is I won't be eating them the pods. I'll wait for them to produce pods and then keep the beans. They store really well. And here we go, here's one. They produce these nice red stripy, so I recommend that. So, oh, there's a random green bean in there, runner bean in there, but yeah, these are the Bolottis. If you've got your bearings by now, you'll know that this cleared patch here is at the edge of my older plot. And our landlord gave us permission to move my daughter's chickens here. She's got 6 chickens, and this is the chicken house that my husband built at their house. And they're moving, and the chickens are also moving. So he spent several days moving with the help of other family members, the pieces up to the allotments. And the 6 chickens who spent 2 weeks in chicken boarding were very delighted to be back and are now enjoying themselves. We're getting lots of eggs, enough to even give some to our allotment neighbours. And so everybody's happy. I hope you've enjoyed this initial video after my break, and the next video will be a sewing video. Thanks for watching. It's a stroke one, you have to wait till it gets settled in.